Hello there. Today I saw The Amateur and now I want to tell you about it. It's a spy thriller about a CIA analyst getting revenge on his wife's killers. The screenplay, written by Ken Nolan and Gary Spinelli, is based on a book of the same name. James Hawes directed the film, which stars Rami Malek, Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Sapani, and Holt McCallany. Okay, so the story is a by-the-book accounting of events. It starts with a lot of setup. We meet the characters, learn a bit about them, and then the ball gets rolling. They spend about an hour doing training montages, bits of investigation, and setting up little tidbits for later. After that, Heller finally goes after his targets. He follows them around, tries to attack them through indirect means, and interrogates them for the information he wants. There's a little bit of action, a bit of drama, but mostly the film focuses on how the action affects Heller. During this time, the camera also starts showing us a few more perspectives. We see how the antagonists react to Heller and try to deal with him, how a third party tries to intervene on behalf of the CIA, and learn about Heller's mysterious online friend. To finish things off, they have Heller confront the man who murdered his wife and then give us a tiny wrap-up to cap things off. As far as spy thrillers go, this one is very simple. For positives, it properly explains its story. The cast does a decent job with their roles, the visual journey is easy to follow with a few good moments, and they have a soundtrack adding little bits of value. The story goes through events point by point and gives basic explanations for everything that happens. They do get bogged down in exposition dumping a little bit, but still manage to explain everything well. Cast-wise, they're all playing spies or spy-adjacent people, which means a lot of serious expressions, a bunch of made-up technical jargon, and a few basic fistfights with complementary gunplay. No one in the film stands out, but everyone does a decent job with their character's journey and participating in the action. Rami Malek gets most of the screen time playing Heller. He's a quiet, reserved man who works as an analyst at the CIA. When his wife is murdered, he wants revenge, and forces his way onto the mission to get it. His character is a grieving and somewhat broken man. Malek plays up those aspects well, coming off as a meek person trying their best during extraordinary circumstances, like he's constantly dangling off the edge and holding on for dear life. Lawrence Fishburne plays Malek's handler and trainer. He's a merciless old hunter who tries to teach Heller to be ruthless. He doesn't get much time to help him, but does his best to keep working on little bits of advice while Heller is on mission. For antagonists, they split the time between Danny Sapani and Holt McCallany. The two of them play CIA higher-ups that want to rein Heller in. They both essentially play the same role, a confident and serious leader who believes in their form of justice. They don't get much screen time, but do well delivering their lines and hitting the right emotional notes. Visually, the film is similar to other spy thrillers. It has lots of shots of characters sitting around computers, discussing the details of the plot, a little bit of action in the form of chase scenes and hand-to-hand fights, and a couple of big visual fanfare moments. It's not an impressive journey by any means, with muted colors and ordinary-looking characters. That said, they managed to get the story across clearly and keep the action clean and simple. For their big moments, they have a couple of cool explosions and gunfights toward the end that are quite entertaining. The bit with the glass swimming pool shattering was neat. The practical effects for that shot were primo. Sound-wise, the film uses simple repetitive instrumental tracks to add a bit of tension and slow sad songs to add a bit of emotion when it's called for. The tracks aren't memorable, they aren't loud or in your face, but they do support the story mildly. Which brings me to this film's problem. Everything about it is muted. The writing is boring and overly technical. The cast are never allowed to open up and express emotions properly. The visual journey doesn't take any risks or try anything special, and the soundtrack is more generic slop heaped onto the pile. Starting with the writing, the characters are bland. They don't have personalities, they have objectives. We don't learn about their past, they don't have any flavor, and they can all be summed up by the word professional. It's boring, and they don't make up for it with cool action or a mysterious plot. The plot is straightforward and totally exposed right from the beginning. There are no secrets. The action is very simple stuff, like fist fights or chase scenes where they're being shot at. They don't even take risks with the dialogue. They say the most obvious generic lines that anyone could think up, and the cast suffers for it. They're asked to play these wooden characters with no personality, and most of what they do is exposition dumping. They go on and on without ever changing tones or expressing any kind of emotion. Everyone looks like they've got a stick up their ass. The closest anyone comes to a real personality is Jon Bernthal's character, and he's only in the film for 3 minutes. Visually and sound-wise, the film falls into the same trap. They filmed in basic locations, did simple action, and backed it with generic instrumentals. There's no color, no cool outfits, no one looks impressive, and none of the places they visit are visually appealing. Nothing about this film is unique, and often it looks the same as any old spy thriller television show. The only things that set it apart from them are the couple of big shots toward the end. Personally, this film is already starting to fade from my mind. It's just that generic and boring. They didn't do anything meaningful with the story. The actors never got a chance to stand out, and the production value is so basic that it might as well be a made-for-TV movie. As for a rating, I'd give this a 4 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye bye.